good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sorry, I was just sorting a couple of things out on my side before we went live. Good evening. What bloody time is this? I'm covered in dog ear as well, look at me. Bloody rude of some of these freaking YouTubers who go live, don't go live, inconsistent with their times, and now I've had to go back to my own bloody time of 10 p.m. again. Bloody inconsiderate. All these people do all this money, take this holiday, and they go away and enjoy themselves and inconvenience people like me. Bloody people. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello and welcome to the live stream. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the DJI Action 5 Pro. I nearly said the Action 4 then. We're going to talk a little bit about that and just share really just a couple of initial thoughts on all the footage I've got. I don't have one, but I have loads of footage. I'm lucky loads of people send me their footage from the cameras themselves, and that allows me to sort of get a bit of a bearing on things. But I've also been watching some reviews closely. But I'm going to do a behind-the-desk view, as the critics like to say, all these armchair experts behind the desks. But I'm also going to talk about the SoC, because that's actually the real interesting thing here, and the fact that DJI is using a Qualcomm SoC, and that was rather unexpected. And it says a lot, actually, because DJI have made a lot of moves in recent times to be almost all in-house, and this goes completely against that. And then there is the geopoliticals of the fact that they're using an American-based chipset. There's also the crazy news that we should touch on a little bit of potentially Qualcomm trying to buy Intel. Don't think that'll happen, but that's a biggie. We will also talk about... I can't remember what else I put in the doc. This is what happens when I go and make a cup of tea. We will talk a little bit about DJI O3 at the start, just to give an update on that. Oh, we should talk about, yes, these. And the video of this is coming out tomorrow. So I'm not going to talk too much, but I will talk a little bit about TBS Lucid, O3 as it stands today, but also the issues on other goggles, because people are posting issues, and we will talk about anything else that comes up along the way as well. Now, let me just get myself in the right place to make sure everything is working. Oh, yep, that's fine. That's fine. Get that there, get that there. I was a little bit late making it into the studio. Waiting on your review. I don't have the AG01 Nanos. I can order a set. I'll try and order a set in. I'm not really sure it warrants a review. It will be the same stance as the other ones, where they don't really make you any better a pilot, but they're bloody nice to have, is sort of the stance I'll take on that as well. But yeah, we'll talk about that as we move through. Has their own Source 1 been adapted? Yes, it has. So the 5.1 is adapted to take the gorilla, as they say. So, hello to everyone. Thank you for joining me. Now, I think I'll get out the way just the DJI O3 stuff first of all, because I've had a lot of people. So, there's no updates on O3 Goggles 3. Okay, so the state we're in today is we're waiting on DJI. Look, they know about it. We can do no more. DJI is a company that does respond best when there's issues like this to pressure, but you can't force the issue. So what I've done is as much as I can do, and what I now have to do is give them a fair chance to fix this, and that fair chance is a couple of weeks. Okay, so I'm not at all convinced they would have known about the issue until I highlighted it in the way we have, and the way the community has. And I don't mean that me specific, but I mean, you know, this sort of, it's a bit like a wave. It got bigger and bigger towards the last few weeks. So we've now highlighted it, but we now have to wait. And the truth of the matter is, it will take a little bit of time. You also have to be careful what you wish for, because if they bang out a firmware update in 4 days and it breaks something else, you're all going to be as angry. There are real sloppiness signs within the latest Goggles 3 firmware. And what I mean by that is this. There are a number of things that DJI also broke in the Goggles 3 update recently. There's Chinese menu items appearing up when there shouldn't be. There is a couple of other quirks. Nothing major, but just signs of rushing is the term that I would use. You know, the SD card menu comes up in Chinese for some reason, and that shouldn't be happening. So there are bugs within the software's language selection as well, which sort of makes me think they were rushing. But this new issue, look, it's not specific to the latest firmware. It's for the Neo. What is weird is DJI has got an awful lot of sort of people that can fix this, yet it hasn't happened. And it's a bit weird. It's definitely a bit weird. The issue is probably a silly one. You know, we know this isn't normal behavior. Bugs happen. Look, you can't criticize them for the bugs. You know, do we expect DJI to test every part of the functionality on every update? Of course not. There are some core functionalities that they expect. The big difference here with O3 on the Goggles 3 is you're now mixing RF systems a little bit. And there are complexities to that. And look, it's a bug. So, at the end of the day, it's not great. No one likes it, but it will most likely be fixed. But what I will say is this. Look, with DJI, you do have to put a certain amount of pressure on in the right way to get a result from them at times. And that kind of pressure can be calling them a bunch of stuff out in public like I have. That's sometimes part of the game. You have to do it. I've been at this a very, very long time. And DJI, above all things, hate bad press. And that's sometimes what it takes to get an issue fixed. It's what I've had to do with the Inspire 1, the Inspire 2 over the years when we had the bugs on the Goggles 2. But there's no amount of shouting and screaming after that will change it. And what really happens with DJI is this. You make the noise, they acknowledge the noise in one way or another, which they have done now through their press team. I have had a response from the press team. I know they've seen it. It's been on all of the forums and Discords. There's no hiding. Now we have to wait. And all we can do is wait. What I will say, though, is no one making noise doesn't help. The more noise, the better to get the issue highlighted. Because if you don't highlight the issue, they just won't do anything about it. And that's the truth of the matter. But now we have to wait. What I will do is follow up probably, if they haven't done anything by the end of September. Where I'm at today is the 22nd, early October. After that, it is unacceptable. You know, this needs a 1 to 2 week fix. I'm not saying it has to be day one, but now it's been highlighted. There will be no good reason to accept that it hasn't been fixed by sort of the first week of October. Anything after that is lazy. Now, there are lots of other things DJI haven't fixed over the years. But there are also reasons for it. And you have to also separate out what is bugs and what is inherent design issues. And, you know, I know the one I think the most, probably the biggest one I see people question me about on the channel is the V2 binding issues. And it's not a bug. The one thing to understand with the V2 issue is it's not a bug. It's an inherent design flaw in the way they designed the goggles and the software. It's not fixable because of... I'm not saying never, because there are always ways of doing things. But it isn't easily fixable for them, put it that way. And part of this is because they've really constrained themselves on memory in those goggles. It overwrites the binding between the modes, and that's the complexities of it. Now, could they do things differently? Yes. But there's how far do you go with a rewrite on the software? And you're not just rewriting one piece of software, you're rewriting loads of pieces of software. And that's the problem. The truth is, the fact is, they back themselves into a corner they can't really easily get out of. And that's why you still have the binding behavior. But I wouldn't call it a bug. It's not a bug. It's just a very horrible inherent feature is the term I'd say. But where there has been pretty critical bugs in the past, they have fixed them. So we have to give them a bit of time on that. And that's the fact now. I suspect the fix with this will be Goggles 3 only, and not even the O3E unit. It might be O3, but I suspect it will be Goggles 3. That's my suspicion. Now, just flipping that on a little bit, I'm also seeing a lot of people comment about all sorts of problems with O3 on the Goggles 2, the Integra, and V2 since the new O3 firmware. And what I'm going to say to you is this. Don't hang on for a firmware update that fixes all of these issues. My advice to you is this. Right now, the only issue that is known and confirmed is the lack of reconnecting on signal loss on O3 with Goggles 3. We do believe there is an issue with random signal loss on Goggles 3 and O3, but it's really hard to diagnose, so I can't confirm it is an actual issue. There are lots of reports, but I can't replicate it on the bench, therefore I can't say with absolute certainty that it does exist. With regards to people talking about Goggles 2, Integra, and V2s and O3 since the latest firmware and having issues, my advice to you is this. Start from scratch. Don't assume it's a bug in the system. Diagnose your system as if there are no faults with the O3E unit. Go back to the beginning. Look at everything from scratch. Do not expect DJI to release an update to fix a problem that may not exist or they don't even know exists. Right now, the only bug that is absolutely confirmed is the lack of reconnecting on signal loss on Goggles 303. Everything else is hearsay, rumor, other than that. Matt said, can't you downgrade the firmware if you don't have Goggles 3? Why bother updating? Yeah, agreed on the Goggles 3. There's just don't update. If you don't have Goggles 3, don't update. Downgrade is complex with DJI because what we can't easily confirm is this has always been the case with DJIs. Downgrades don't necessarily fully downgrade the product. Okay? DJI's products are made up of what we used to call lots of modules. So for those who've been around a long time, you will see like module 0806, module 0607, module 0203. Everything is made up of lots of different modules. Now, when you do a firmware update, the firmware may update the firmware on all of the modules. So think about your O3E unit. You'll have the firmware on the Eagle 3T. You could have the firmware on the P1. You'll have the modem firmware. You'll have the power supply firmware. All the firmware is up the stack. So when you upgrade, it might upgrade all of them. But when you downgrade, there is no guarantee all of the modules downgrade. And it's often the case in DJI is many of the updates contain parts that will never step backwards. So when you downgrade, you may downgrade the main OS, but your modem firmware may have been upgraded and that will always stay upgraded. It will never downgrade. And this is part of the reissues that if people have been around a very long time, you may have remembered the 0807 issues on the Inspire 1s with the gimbals would brick. Not the Inspire 1s, the Phantom 3s. It would happen on the Inspire 1 as well. You would have the 0807. DJI's update and downgrade process, it's not, you can upgrade and you can downgrade, but that downgrade doesn't mean every part downgrades. And as a result of it, you can still have an issue. You may not have had the issue before you upgraded, but downgrading, you may still have the issue because the part that has that issue may not downgrade. And that potentially causes the issues. So we just got to wait and see. That's all we can do. We have to be fair. John said, if DJI doesn't address it in 2 weeks, what the next approach will be, I will just make another video calling it out. That's all I can do. I can do no more. Look, I can sit here and call them a bunch of twats all day long. Some might say I enjoy it. But the truth of the matter is, all I can do is highlight in a video. And I'll just say it's completely unacceptable. DJI are allowing users to use a system that is now known to be dangerous. Do you know what I mean? But like, that's all I can do. I can do no more. All I can do is use this platform to highlight the issues. I know with absolute certainty that there are people within the bowels of DJI who watch this channel. I know that 100%. There's zero doubt about that. However, all I can do is that's the only pressure I can put on. What I can tell you is 100%. Saying nothing won't help. The only way you can sometimes get results with DJI is to put the public pressure on. You know, look, the truth of the matter is I'm more than happy to say good things about DJI, and I'm more than happy to say bad things about DJI. I don't really care either way. I play this pretense of I hate DJI. I don't hate DJI. Of course I don't hate DJI. DJI are a fantastic company who make great products. Their behavior at times is shit, and they don't do the right thing for customers in a lot of cases. But also, be under no illusion that they today are in a much better position than they've ever been. Their customer service in general is outstanding. They are often providing some of the best customer service in the industry. Now, look, those who've been around a long time like I have, there were times where DJI support was shocking. You wouldn't even want to send a product back because it wouldn't even come back working properly. Today, they are a class at customer service when it comes to product repairs, product replacements. They don't mess around. They are, but that doesn't mean they get a free pass on everything. They are a company that still at times shits all over their customers. They are getting better. It is without doubt they are getting better. Just look at the compatibility in FPV now. They can always do more, and I will still criticize for that. But, if you look at it, it's night and day now. It's night and day. Oh, for years, look, when I used to help run the Facebook groups, for those who don't know, I helped run the DJI Facebook groups for a number of years. I think I did 3 years, 2 or 3 years. For those who don't know, I created the FPV group. The official FPV group was created by me. If you search on there for posts from the admins in the early days, you will see me because they're still there, mostly telling people to behave. I used to run that group. I was, I don't hate DJI. I used to, there was so much crap you used to get in those days. Oh my God, the customer service would be shocking. Customer service used to be just horrific. And but they have moved on. But I also frankly dislike the moves they've made to the way they behave with KOLs. I saw it happen with my own eyes. The we'll give you $1,000 worth of DJI credit for positive engagement. The things like that have eroded trust. And the fact they kicked almost everyone off the affiliate scheme and now only allow very key select players onto it rather than allowing anyone to use it as they used to, including me. They kicked me off the affiliate scheme. Like many others, they closed it down and kicked everyone off and now brought it back only for the KOLs that they choose to work with, which now makes it this very murky, underhanded setup because I'm not against the use of affiliate links. I think you can be open and honest and still use an affiliate link. I do so on this channel. But now they've been very murky with this. And now you've got their select KOLs. And I'm going to say it, and I will piss a lot of people off. They're all advertisers now. I'm sorry, many won't like that. But because of the closed nature of it, it becomes an advertising group, not a reviewer group. because of the way DJI control it. And that's fine if they want to do it that way. But the truth of the matter is, whilst people will protest, they can say what they want. The truth of the matter is they can't. And if they turned around and said, fuck DJI, this is a load of shit and all of this, they won't be involved again. I can tell you now. So it is a shame. And what, a huge step that DJI could do to bring back trust is give everyone access to the affiliate scheme again. That would be a huge step, because you can make people can get involved then and then not be tied into their KOL agreements. I saw the murkiness come in, and that doesn't mean they're bad in many ways, but they've certainly moved to a model which I think causes more distrust than trust in what we hear as people. And that's my stance on it. So, and when you watch the reviews, and we'll move on to the Action 5 now, there's been a lot of glossing over in this. There's some great reviews, there's some good reviews, and there's some where you just go, you know what? You stayed away from certain things on purpose. But we'll come on to that in a second. So, that's the score with that. Now, as we're on them, we should move over to this, which is the Ronin. No, not the Ronin RS4 Pro. Where has it gone? Come on. I've missed it on the carousel, look. Where's it gone? We need to go back. Woo, 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 woo. Where is it? Oh, I went too far, There it is, DJI Action 5 Pro. Okay. Have to say, look, I've watched a lot of footage. And I've got a lot of footage. Spent a lot of time looking into it. And overall, this camera is an upgrade in probably 85% of ways over the previous camera. There is no doubting that. When you look at the new sensor, you look at the low light performance, you look at the OLED displays. I really like the OLEDs. The depth sensor's a really nice touch when you look at it. The pressure and depth sensor, that's cool. You can't deny that. That's cool. I am disappointed in one thing. One thing externally is I am disappointed they didn't put the magnetic mount power connectors on the bottom like they did on the Action 2. Where's my Action 2? For those who don't know, the Action 2 has external, because it doesn't really have ports. It has these. Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, that's not working. That was a bit unexpected. Is it going to work this time? Whee, there you go. I am disappointed you didn't have these. It would have been really nice to have these on it. Just would have been a nice touch to have on it. There is zero question when you look at the running time, the power levels, the overheating. They have made big steps forward in that regard. Basically doesn't overheat from the tests that I've seen, period. Outruns every other camera, period. You can't knock that. The new chip is interesting, and we will come on to that fact in a minute, where they've moved into Qualcomm. Very interesting. OLED displays. The DJI mic support looks good. Genuinely, I think where they've let themselves down is on this bitrate thing. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk bullshit, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk nonsense, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk truth. And the fact is, yes, bitrate isn't everything. However, 60 megabits a second in 4K 30, even in HEVC, is tight. And I am seeing that in the footage. I'm seeing it in the footage. People are posting online saying, hey, look how good this looks. It's not in all scenarios. If you stick it into something like Jake's done, Jake has done an amazing review on it. If you don't know who Jake is, Jake Sloan. Jake did a fantastic review.
AI can transform your business.
where Jake lives, the places he has to go. My God, if you haven't seen Jake's video, it's worth a look. Jake does a sort of loose review. Jake's more look. Here's what I'm going to show you it can do. And some of the footage from this just is stunning, especially in sort of these watery environments and these environments, this sort of outdoorsy, bluey setups. Jake's video is fantastic, and it looks really good. It really does look very, very good. Where it definitely struggles, though, is in the greens and the fast movement. And where it is really showing is when you've got mostly flying footage, if I'm honest, or driving footage around greens and foliage. It just turns to complete mush. And the reason of that is the codec, in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't have enough space to put the data in. And that's the big problem. Now, DJI reducing the codec for battery life is absolutely a valid point. But it shouldn't have been no other options. Where I feel DJI have made a mistake here is calling it Pro and giving you less than you had before. Because remember, the Action 4 is H.265 as well as this. So the Action 4 had 130 megabits a second capability. This is 100. I'll be honest, I'd be happier with 100 in 4K. I'd be less concerned about it if it was 100 in 4K. It's the 60. Where I think DJI is really missed the boat here was by not adding a Pro mode, giving you maximum bitrate at the sake of battery and overheating. Just like Sony does, like everyone does on their cameras. And that's where no ProRes, no nothing. Look, this is where DJI have made the mistake. There is no question, right? And I got loads of footage here. I don't need to own the camera to have footage. Lots and lots of people have sent me first-hand footage from this camera. And it is without doubt better than the GoPro in low light. But the truth is, and when you listen to some of the real pro channels talking about it, Cine D and others, unless you absolutely need the low light, buy the Action 4. Is the truth today. Unless you need the low light and battery life, buy the Action 4. Is my opinion. You could say that, though, Lon, about the Mavic 3, although they did give 2 options. I think a lot of people would be interested in a ProRes option. But yeah, I think from all of the information, all of the interviews, all of the stuff that I've personally seen, get the Action 4 unless you need the low light. And that's the truth. Save the money as well. Save the money, get the 4. The 4 is such a good camera. I do feel like DJI aimed this at a different market. When you look at the stuff like the dive-in, you know, the pressure gauge and stuff, it does feel like DJI was aiming these at the 2 different markets. It feels like this is being more aimed. Or someone said, oh, the wireless mic support. Yeah, but you can buy the DJI mic. I would, look, how big a benefit is the DJI mic support when if you buy the mic, you can have the base anyway and just use it? I'm not convinced that's a major benefit. It's nice, but you can just use the DJI base station. Or you can, and here's the truth, you are better using the DJI mic and recording locally on the mic anyway and not even worrying about the wireless link. You would be, because remember, the DJI mic records in thing. If we go to the DJI mic. If you go to the DJI mic 2. It oh, I didn't want that one. Bloody DJI resale website keeps coming up. Yeah, float. I couldn't think of the term. It records a 32-bit float. Yeah, I couldn't think of it off the top of my head then, Lon. It records a 32-bit float anyway, so you may as well just use that, because that's going to be much better than the wireless link. You would be better with the DJI mic using 32-bit float than you are on the 4 than you are the wireless link on the 5, in my personal opinion. Records one to left channel, one to right channel. Yeah, it does. It's quite nice, but you can do all that with the DJI mic kit anyway. I still think, yeah, 32-bit float is just, yeah. For those who don't know what 32-bit float is, basically you can't clip. The way it works is actually, it's really cool actually. If you ever look into what 32-bit float is, you basically have multiple stages of amplifiers. And it records the audio across all of the amps at different stages, and then basically creates an extremely wide audio file bandwidth wise, and you have the full headroom. It is incredible when you look into it. It's very cool when you look into how it's done, because it's usually multiple stages of amplifiers. It's really, really cool. But yeah, and you'll save money, you know. I do think DJI have made a genuine mistake with the... I'm less concerned about the maximum, 100 to 130. I do think that they've made a mistake. And I'm sorry, as much as many people say it looks fine, it fucking doesn't. I'm sorry. I've seen enough footage to go, no, it's struggling. Look, and here's the truth on something, right? I don't do a lot of camera reviews on this channel for a reason. I do and have done and continue to do a lot of photography. I own more cameras than most people own cups, is the term I'll use. Am I a professional photographer? No. I'll go head to head with anyone though when it comes to how cameras work and how they should work and image quality all day long. There's a reason I don't make camera content, because it's an industry that's really hard to get any traction in, but also it doesn't interest me from a technical standpoint quite as much as the FPV side does. And here's the truth. They've got people who are good at it, and take Gerald Undone. Gerald is fantastic at the depth stuff. You don't need another Gerald. There isn't a, you know, and that's it. You know, it's, but people, you know, I have done photography for a very, very, very long time. I have used cameras for a very, very, very long time. If you want to have a chat about the in-depth differences in how mirrorless SLR works and all of the different sensor types and all of the different autofocus types and all of the different behaviors of the technical differences between how each of the manufacturer does stuff, I can do it, because I go into depth on that stuff personally as much as I do in FPV. It's just I don't make video content. I don't have time to. I am really tempted, and if it wasn't for the cost, because it'll cost $1,000, I would love to go out and buy a Hero 13, a Action 4 and Action 5. It cost about £1,000 to do it, and do a really in-depth look at the 3. I would love to do that for you guys. I don't think I can't warrant £1,000 on cameras to talk about on the channel, and that's why I don't do camera drone reviews anymore, because the truth is, unless DJI is paying you for it, who has the money to go out and spend $2-3 grand every time they release a new Mavic? I don't. Here's the truth of the matter. I don't have all of that money to run out and go and buy a Mavic 3 Pro. I tell you something, I am incredibly excited, and whilst we come on to the Mavics, I am incredibly excited. I'll come on to the Super Chats in a minute. About this. Let me just find this. So if I go to my comment, I put a post up earlier. This if you haven't seen this image, so this is an image of the leaked new Mavic 4, which I'm going to guess is the 4 Pro. We're going to guess that's what they've called. And it's clearly someone doing comparisons with mirrorless cameras. You've got a Lumix there, so I'm guessing that's an... Could be an S5, like I've got. S1H, maybe. You've probably got an A7S3. Not sure what that is. And then you've got the DJI at the top. This is probably the most exciting thing I've seen from DJI in a very, very long time. There's the Mavic 3 below. There's the Mavic 4 above. Just look at the size of the camera. It is incredible. Now, the first thing that I think when you look at the difference here is I think DJI have done a lot of work on the optics. For them to increase the size of this by that much, unless they've put 3 freaking MFT sensors in there, unless they've done that, something dull like that. But to me, that sizing makes me think they've done a lot of work on the optics. Yeah, as Switzer just noticed, the motors are a lot bigger as well. I don't think that's optical illusion. Well, no, it can't be when you look at that one over there. They almost look the same size as the Inspire motors. Probably not quite that big, but they are big. But this is the most exciting thing that I've seen in a very, very long time. This is game-changing. That's what this is. Look at it. You're going to have full vertical up filming as well. And down. I just wonder how much that's going to catch under that top lip. If they're comparing that to Sony, then they're definitely going big. 100%. That was my thoughts. I think they'll be comparing... That's a Lumix, so that might be an S1H or something like that. A7 III, maybe. I don't know. It definitely looks a beast. It's a big payload, bigger drone. That's got me excited. But then, I'll be honest, the price that's going to be A7 IV or... It's a beast. It's a beast. That's for sure. And as someone has said, the fact they're comparing that tells you a lot. And won't be available in the US if the ban goes through. Yeah. Is that a pencil strapped to it? Where are you seeing a pencil? Am I missing something? Where's there a pencil? There's an SSD there by the look of it. Yeah, it's going to be a few grand, that's for sure. Very cool, though. So, right now on the Action 5, 99%, and I think if you're into FPV, buy the Action 4. Fast-moving, high-detail images, it's really struggling with. That's what I've seen in the codec so far. In all the footage I've seen, fast-moving, high-detail, it just falls over. It looks fantastic in a lot of other stuff, but fast-moving, high detail. That's where it's thing. Now, that isn't to say DJI won't release an update that gives us more. I'd love a high bandwidth mode. I would love a fuck the battery, give me a high bandwidth mode. Because for FPV, we can get around that. We can get around the power issues in FPV. Will be interesting to see if we see any nakeds. I don't know if someone will do that. What I have to say really, though, is this, before I move on. At least DJI have basically made a new camera. And here's something that should be congratulated. Whilst it's a new battery size, the old battery is compatible. Unlike GoPro, who completely screwed over all of their existing users with the GoPro 13 and made everything incompatible. So basically... DJI have released a new camera with improvements. Yes, not everything is what we would have preferred or liked, but it is a new camera with improvements, with compatibility with older accessories. GoPro, on the other hand, gave the big finger to everyone, released a camera that doesn't support any of the previous accessories, and is the same camera. The 13 is the same camera as the 12 in a different skin. They literally took the 12 and placed it in a new housing and called it the 13 and made nothing compatible. They literally, it is the same camera. There is not a single improvement in the GoPro. Same hardware, same sensor, same everything. They just basically went, oh, we want more money from you, so what we're going to do is rehouse it and make you buy everything again. And there is whispers of Insta360 bringing a new camera. I should talk about them. But never forget, Insta360 are the company that were paying people to make positive reviews with the condition that you weren't allowed to tell people that the review was a paid review. So when it comes to companies doing shitty things, all three of them are a bit dodgy, if I'm honest. But DJI appear to be the lesser of the three evils, is the term I'll use. So GoPro basically screwed the user base over. Insta360 are basically trying to get you to lie. And at least DJI are not doing any of that. So, hey. Now, as for price, you can save a bit of cash getting the 4. Real shady stuff from Insta360. They are... Yeah, and the Ace Pro 2 could be an interesting one. 329 in the UK. 329 in the UK. But if we go into the handheld, Action 5 Pro 329. Have they still got the old one on you? I was looking on Amazon. 259. That is a steal. That is a steal. I would look. I would love to review these. I would love to sink a lot of time into these cameras. But you know, look, if you do the cost here, right? So if I add an Action 4, no, I don't want the care plan. And then if I add an Action 5, let's just go back because standard combo. As long as I don't tear it down. I am intrigued if people would be interested in me buying an Action 5 to break, because that's, you're not going to tear it down. It's never going back together. Genuinely, if I did the Action 5... Oh, they have the official refill. Oh, I forgot about that. What's that like? Let's have a look at that. Oh. Oh, DJI refurbished, handheld. 229 quid. That is a steal. Oh, it's out of stock. Dang. That is a steal. I do know, look, I am intrigued if people would be interested in a full teardown, because that might be the only way I'd get the money back on it. But the only problem is with it is you're not putting this back together. They're basically glued, basically. So you're not putting it back together once taken apart. That is for sure. Yeah, you're certainly not putting it back. But if there's a brand out there, here's an interesting point. If there's a brand out there who would like to work with me on making an FPV, a naked case for the DJI Action series. If you would like to fund me tearing one down, I'm game. There we go. Flywoo! Flywoo! My friends, how are you? Would you like me to send you a torn down DJI Action 5 Pro if you'd like to pay for it? Sponsored by Flywoo. That would be quite funny. So, I mentioned at the start, the only contact I've had from DJI is a marketing response. Ace Pro 2 leaks, we're going to have to see. I have a real thing. It looks big, though. The Ace Pro does look big. We'll have to see on that. Right, before we move on from DJI, the last thing we should talk about is the ASIC, the SoC, because this is really interesting. So DJI are using the Qualcomm processor. This is a big surprise, okay? No one was expecting this. No one saw this coming. No one thought, oh, DJI's going to go and work with Qualcomm. So the CPU is the QCS 8550. There's also a QCM version which has a built-in 5G modem, which DJI are not using. I'll say this. This is one hell of a chip. It's quite ironic that DJI have reduced the spec, yet the chip is massively more powerful. Massively more powerful. One prime core up to 3.6 gig with an ARM Cortex X3. 4 performance cores up to 2.8 gig, 3 efficiency cores to 2 gig. So it's an 8-core CPU. That's a beast. Supports DDR5 up to 4,200 megahertz. Has the Qualcomm Adreno 740 GPU. It has GPS built in. And what's also interesting is there's no GPS in the Action 5, yet the chipset has GPS built in. Computer vision processor. Tensor processor. Quite the beast. It's incredible. It really, really is incredible. When you look at the overall, it's got a PCIe port. Gen 4. It's got a Gen 3. It's got USB 3 ports and USB 4 and USF 4 ports. It's quite... I do wonder if DJI are a little bit out of their depth with this chipset yet, and they don't really fully have got to grips with what they can do with it. I do wonder, with the amount of capabilities this thing has got. Interesting, I also need to look at the size. So it's 15.6mm by 14mm. Now here's something interesting. Should we just... one thing, let's just look at one thing. So, here is the Eagle, on which was in the original camera and was in O3. So, the Action 4 Pro uses the Eagle chipset. How big is that compared to that? I'm intrigued. I wonder how much space they've been able to save. So, the DJI chipset is... 13 mil by, I'd say that's 13 by 13, so it might be a bit bigger. Yeah, 13 by 13 DJI is. So this new chipset is 15.6 by 14, so it's actually bigger. I wasn't expecting that. Clean them calipers. No. Interesting. Yeah, it came out over a year ago. You know, it's still new in that regard. The chip isn't new, but it's the thing you got to take into account with these chipsets is that they're announced. They usually take like 6 to 8 months to really hit the market after announcement. We used to see that with Umbrella. Umbrella, it used to be horrific. You know, Umbrella would announce a new chipset and it wouldn't turn up for 2 years. They used to take a long time. These things take quite a long time before they make it out into the market. But yeah, quite the piece of kit. Quite the piece of kit indeed. So, interesting. DJI have gone to Qualcomm. What would this mean in any China bans? Who knows? This changes things a little bit. I'm even surprised DJI was able to... Yeah, I'm going to come on to the Super Chats now. I'm quite surprised DJI was able to even buy them with all of the nonsense going on. So, right. Time to catch up on the Super Chats. First of all is what's up. Thank you, my friend, for the £4.99. Oh, Super Deluxe is throwing his money around. Thank you, Super. If you had to box fight anyone in FPV YouTube community, who would it be and why? Hypothetically, of course, in the FPV YouTube community, who would I want to box in the FPV community? Well, it's that bloke, Joseph, is the bloke I'd like to come over after. Joseph Denari. Because he goes around the internet telling lies about me on people's Discord groups, making up lots of nonsense about how I keep losing drones in trees and in the sea. So I'm sorry, it's that Joseph bloke. That's the one who would be in the ring. And if he doesn't keep my name out of... I've told him before, keep my effing name out of his mouth. Is he here? I'm sure it's Joseph. Or Joseph. As I told him earlier, keep my effing name out of your mouth. Telling lies about me. Lies, I tell you. Anywho, thank you for the... $10 Super Chat Super Deluxe. That's incredible. Thank you for that, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Joseph will pop in 3, 2, 1. Yes. Okay, that's enough of DJI. Buy the Action 4. Probably the best way forward. I'd still like to try the Action 4. I'm tempted to order one to smash up. Because I'm going to have to break it to do the teardown. I would love to do a teardown. I would like to do it. Could I make it pay? Here's the question. The problem is, see, look, it's not about me getting free gear. Let me just explain this. I don't mind tearing something down if I can put it back together and use it. The problem with the Osmo Action is, if I do this, it's fucked. The truth of the matter is, game over. There's no recovering it. It would be a hard one. Let me just look at something. It would be a hard one to know if I could actually making it pay. You know, to although I am tempted, right, to order one, to do that on, and then send it back under Care Refresh in a bag. Pay for the extra £23 for the Care Refresh and send it back to DJI and say it got run over. The front fell off is the term. I'd send them a copy of the video saying the front fell off. Is what I would do. Let me just have a look at something. One second, I just want to look at something. See, here's the interesting thing, okay? Just to give you guys, and here's a bit of truth. So with all of the views and income on the Neo teardown, so you guys know I bought the DJI Neo, okay? So I bought it, tore it down on my live stream, and made the video. Okay? How much through all of the super chats I had, how much through the ad revenue in the first month, and take into account after the first month, it's game over. So once the first month is over, game over, the income will fall off a cliff at that level. How much do you guys think I got back? Because I'm just looking at it now. $100, got half, £4.62. So as of today, and this will fall off quickly, Lon is probably the closest. It's £60.50. Okay, that's the truth. That's what that video. And there's a bunch of super chats in that as well. That is not ad revenue. That's total revenue based off super chats and everything, because a bunch of people gave super chats on the day. So this is the problem. If you think that's a $300-400 drone, 60 quid. So if I base the Action 5 teardown the same, you'd be spending $325 to get 60 back. And it just that's the problem. That is the issue. Kickstarter teardowns. And then look, and this is where I do have a little bit of a gripe with DJI not allowing the outside affiliates anymore. Here he is. Ding, ding, ding. Fight! A review would get less than that because I wouldn't get the views. Although no one really got the reviews. The view numbers on some of the channel's reviews were horrific. That's more than Captain Drone makes per video behind 315 subs. Yeah, but you got to take into account, Lon, there's super chats in that as well. There could be 40 quid's worth of super chats. I haven't looked. So, yeah, but it's just not viable. There's just no money in... Yeah, go backwards, Joseph. Go backwards. Ding, ding, ding. There's just no money in it. That's the truth, and this is why it's very hard to do the camera drone reviews anymore, because it doesn't pay. And here's the truth. When DJI had the affiliate scheme, DJI's affiliate scheme gives 5%, okay? But at least you had half a chance of making some money back when you did these things. I could do a complete teardown of that, and if you like what you see and you bought it through the affiliate scheme, I might make a bit of money back to pay for it. You will never do that through YouTube AdSense revenue. It's just not possible. YouTube AdSense revenue is tiny. It's minuscule. It just doesn't pay enough. And I'm talking about this from a business sense, Hello, Casper. I spoke about that at the start of the stream. I don't want to say... You can finish watching and then go back to the start later, or you can jump back to the start now. I talked about it at the beginning. But yeah, 60 quid. So it's just... It doesn't pay. And that's the problem. That's the issue. And that's why I can't do camera drone reviews anymore. When I was part of the DJI affiliate scheme, I had half a chance at this. I could make a bunch of content, and over a 2 or 3 year period, you'd maybe get your money back if you were lucky. So on a Mavic 2, for instance, I was able to buy it and make about 10 videos, and over the 3 or 4 year period, you might be able to get close to getting your money back on the affiliate scheme. DJI's affiliate scheme worked very well. I didn't make money from it because I spent it on the products. But what you could do, and you still lose money because time isn't free. My time making content doesn't come for free. But the truth was, I could buy, say, a £600 or £700 drone, make 10 or 12 videos, and then over, say, a 2 year period, I would be able to make that money back for that drone. And that was great. And that's how it worked. And But with the lack of the affiliate scheme, it now means you're reliant on YouTube ad revenue and my amazing patrons, you know. So, but I have to be careful with the Patreon money. I can't spend it as I see fit, in the sense of, not sorry, as I see fit. I have to spend it as I see fit. I can't spend it willy-nilly because there isn't enough of it. It's amazing my Patreons support the channel, but it's hard, you know. So look, you know, the truth is, if I did a teardown and destruction video, it wouldn't pay. It just wouldn't pay. What was really great, and I just want to say this before I move on from this subject, was when I did the thing with the guys over at the Grey Arrows Drone Club, because they sponsored me to do the Avata video. They're completely independent of DJI, and they sponsored that. If you don't know who Grey Arrows were, they are the guys who have their website, which is really good, and they have their UK insurance as well. And they are fantastic. If you haven't seen it, here's the website here. And they sponsored this channel for the Avata 2. Incredible of them. And it was great for me because it was an outside person, not related to DJI, and I could still tell DJI to go fuck themselves. So that was the great thing about it. That is something I would be open to on the channel, is the completely third-party sponsors of specific content. You know, if someone said to me, we'll send, you know, a retailer said, we'll send you an Action 2 if you mention us, but a retailer won't because DJI will pull them up on it. I already know this. Here's how sad it is. I have had conversations with retailers who would love to support this channel, but they can't with DJI gear because of the kickback from DJI because it's me. I have had that conversation already. Because the second I sat there and tore it apart and said this video was sponsored by this ex-retailer, DJI would be on the phone going, you don't do that. So that's why it had to be someone completely independent, like Grey Arrows. None of the UK retailers can touch me because of DJI's blackballing. They all sort of went very, hoo-ah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, catching back up on the super chats. Right, we've had a couple more. Juiced. Hi, any question for quads or cine lifters? How does one transfer tunes between Betaflight, iNav, and Autopilot? There really isn't. No, you got to start again. I'm sorry, but you got to basically find a bass tune from each of them. They all have completely different PID loops. They all have completely different ways of behaving. I really appreciate the €6. Sad truth and fact is, you need to tune individually, as Grumpy Old Nerd said there. What you could do, though, is speak to, like, they all have their Discords, they all have their groups, and sort of go, I've got this frame and this setup. What do you think is best? And they'll give you the great starting point. But yeah, there's no way, unfortunately. They're all different, my friend. Patreon saves a lot of creators for sure. Absolutely chiller. For me, it does. I couldn't do this without Patreon. If I'm honest, if Patreon stopped tomorrow, I'd be shutting the channel now. I just couldn't do it. Anything people on YouTube ask for doesn't pay. Yeah, it's crazy. YouTube is just thing. Right, Joseph is laying it up. $20 super chat. I'll pay for the boxing gloves. You're on. You're on. Thank you, my friend. Project Mark Farm makes it work, but audience is massive. Yeah, you need the audience. A small FPV group doesn't, it's not going to do it. Any O4 updates? Nothing I can tell you yet. In the works, don't expect it this year. Don't expect it this year. Probably, I think the order of things now for DJI will be the A3S, probably the new goggles, the new LCD-based goggles, and then the Mavic 4. But I don't know. The Mavic 4 could be sooner than we think. We don't really know a lot about the Mavic 4, other than the images. We don't even know if the new goggles will be this year. The goggles could even be next year as well. There's no guarantee the new goggles are this year. It could make sense to launch them at the same time as O4. I wouldn't expect O4 this year. Expect O4 probably February. Catching down. How cheap it is. 5% less, getting to the really nitty-gritty of bit rates. Yeah, next to the Moon one, you're right, sadly. I love tuning. Concentrate on iNav, best compromise. What would you take next week? What would you do next week if EMP went off tomorrow? Go to a beach. Any open IPC content coming? Yes! The first video is... I finished filming the studio footage tonight. The first video will go live this week. So, I've changed my tact a bit on what I was going to publish on it. Originally, I was going to do sort of what is an open IPC video and then do a separate video on this. But I've sort of merged them into one. So what you're going to get now with open IPC is probably a 3 to a 5 part series in the next 3 months is the plan. So part 1 is going to be an overview of what open IPC is and the DIY side of it a little bit, just talking about how it works. Then a look at the RunCam ear unit, and then a look at the latency, quick latency checks because I've done them already, and then show you some flight footage. Not a great deal, but I'll show you my experience as I move through. I'm now going to start working on part 2. Part 2 will consist of the look at the Mario 5 hardware and then straight back into flight testing. Part 1 is going to sort of cover the what is it first of all as well, and then move on to the RunCam board. Part 2 will cover the Mario AIO and the flights with that and a comparison to the RunCam board. Part 3 will then be a bit more in depth, I think, on the settings and everything like that. So that's the plans today. The first video, I've just got to finish a little bit of editing. The start and the end was recorded tonight. I just need to bolt them on, basically. It's probably going to be a 40-45 minute video. There's a lot to discuss. Just catching down. Any plans to have a look at Maytech ELRS kit? I don't really do Maytech gear on this channel. They're not a company that I have seen has behaved in a way that I think befits them. They appear to be quite petty, and I have had some pretty shit customer service from them myself, completely independently, when I reached out to them about one of their flight controllers, which was, I'd owned it about 6 months and not used it, and it was factory faulty, and they didn't want to know. So I don't really talk about Maytech on this channel because, and the way they behaved around the Express ELRS thing was petty. Frankly, that messaging that they put in on their website was just not necessary around one of their receivers. So really, fuck Maytech is the term I'll use. Was there an FCC application for the Mavic 4? We have not seen it yet. That doesn't mean there won't be one. What? Then why O3? Then why DJI O3 price slash DJI never discount just like that? They absolutely discount just like that. DJI traditionally discount about 6 months before the new product is due. If you've watched DJI for long enough, like I have, discounts don't come weeks before, months before. Usually about 6 months. So timing's about right. In a perfect world, DJI wants to push out A3, O4 unit goggles, Osmo Mobile 7 and Mavic 4 before the end of the year. Yeah, I think that's a big ask. Do I know any single antenna replacements for the Moonlight? about DJI is the only... So you want to replace on Avatar a dual antenna with a single. Probably the best option is the DJI one. Oh, no. Flyfish have some, as does Flywoo. Flywoo have some dual antennas as well. 150 quid for an O3E unit on AliExpress. They have dropped in price, but I don't recommend you buy outside of the country. What are the LCD goggles? DJI's new budget goggle. LCD display, single LCD display. I have to be careful what I say. I have to be very careful what I say. I'll get told off otherwise. I could say, what would a set of goggles look like if the V2s and a set of Integras had a love child? Working my way down. So sad about the DJI bug. Just built a 5-inch. Only the goggles controller. The version 3. I'm afraid of losing my stuff. Yeah, look, if you're flying on a field where you won't lose it, then you're okay, but you don't want to go long range. Not yet. ENF, thank you for the $10 super chat. Matt, I've been experimenting with a 9 dBi patch on one UFL port on my V1 Walk Snail VTX for more range. Is it worth the trouble based on how the system works? On the 1S... on one UFL port on my V1 Walk Snail. Sorry, V1. It's complicated to do on a quad, but you can try it. I've never flown a quad with a patch. It's an interesting idea, and there are some quite small patches that you could try. I've got, you know, the XEs aren't that big. You could easily mount an XE on the back. It's definitely worth a look. Chiller, good night. Take it easy. Fair enough. Why can't DJI put a Z-axis stabilizer in the Pocket 3 to have the perfect stabilization? Yeah, that'll be the next version. What are the regulations with flying a 250 gram plus drone in the UK? I'm currently building a 5-inch freestyle. I don't know if I need a permit or something. You won't need a permit, but you will need to register the drone. There is a website in the UK called Drone Safe, I think. I can't remember what the actual website's called. There's a website called the Drone and Model Code, which is here. There's a thing you can download. Read this. This tells you everything you need to know. You will need to register. You'll need your flyer ID, and you'll need your operator ID. You'll need these things, but yeah. Just search for it. It's all available in the UK. Am I going to make more content on the Bamboo A1 Mini? Probably. It's just time. I'm struggling a bit on time at the moment. Any news on the O3 problems? No. I talked about that at the start. Right, just coming down the chat. Good night. Good night, Flock. DJI Phantom 3 Standard had 2 patch antennas. Yes, they did on the remote. The drone didn't have patches, I don't recall. Like, oh, did the Standard? Because it was Wi-Fi based, the Standard, wasn't it? The Advanced and the Pro were all... not Hockey Single Light Bridge. What's the benefits of changing single O3 antenna with 2 singles? It's debatable. The biggest advantage is you can set them off axis to each other. So you can have one vertically and one horizontally. That's the biggest benefit. You know, if you think about this quad, if you look at my antenna setup on this, the reason... Let's just refocus. If you look, what you're trying to do is have all your angles covered. So in theory, what you're trying to cover is when you're flying like that, you've got a vertical and you've got one slightly off axis. When you're flying like that, you've got one not vertical, but when you got axis. But what you've got is basically your rabbit ears set up. Now, you're not flying at that angle, but you're flying at that angle, which gives you sort of the best of both worlds, really. That's the open IPC air unit in there. That's the Runcam air unit in the back. If you want to know, does the Runcam air unit fit into a frame? Yes, it does, like that. Only just. This is a quick rough build. This is just my one of my testing builds. Speedy B frame. I love this frame. This is a phenomenal frame. Okay, is there a benefit to it? Long range cards and one both. Look, it gives you changing angles, changing positions. That's the benefit of dual antennas. Oh, thank you for the that. Is there an simple explanation why bind-to-fly whoops are sold with version 2 ExpressRS? Yes, SPI receivers. So if you don't understand what an SPI receiver is, so ExpressLRS runs on an ESP32. So you have 2 chipsets in ExpressLRS, maybe 3 sometimes because you have a power amplifier, but 2 main chipsets. You have your ESP32. And then you have your RF chipset, which is, say, the SX1280. The ESP32 runs the operating system, which controls the SX1280 to create the ExpressLRS LoRa signal. What they do on most... that's a standard one. So that works on UART. What you do in a Whoop to try and save space is they, instead of running the ExpressLRS firmware on an ESP32, they do away with the ESP32 and they run it on the main MCU alongside Betaflight. So they basically run the code within Betaflight. So your STM32 runs the code and the STM32 via an I/O port connects to the SX1280. So you save the space of an additional chipset. The problem is with this is the versions of Betaflight. The Betaflight has the ExpressLRS baked into it, and different versions of Betaflight have different versions of ExpressLRS built into it. You can't update the Betaflight code. Sorry, you can't update the ExpressLRS code independently of the Betaflight code. So certain versions of Betaflight have ExpressLRS 2.0, certain versions of ExpressLRS have Betaflight 3.0. The real limitation with the SPI ExpressLRS is that you are limited to being able to only update the version ExpressLRS when you update Betaflight. That's the basic reason. There is no separate MCU to run ExpressLRS on. You can, but okay, yes, eventually. I'm trying to keep it simple. You can, but you have to do it yourself. Yeah. But this is why you see a lot of them have older versions. What you can't do is just plug it into USB and say, update the ExpressLRS section. Is what you can't do. And that's all because the ExpressLRS dev team is lazy. They never do anything. They're like the freaking most, easiest life dev team we have in FPV. They literally sit back, smoking cigars and incense sticks all day whilst rubbing beard oil in. Honestly, these guys, they're just, it's surprising they get anything done at all. Spending most of their time sniffing the sticks. Anywho. So yes, that's the reason. Right. We're going to quickly talk, and I'm not going to talk too much about this, because the video goes out tomorrow. This is the TBS Source 1 frame. And within this, let me just zoom out a little bit. There we go. Within this is the Source 1 frame kit. Now, I've not seen the Source 1 frame kit until I ordered one. Quite interesting, if you haven't seen one. I've now lost it. I would show you the Source 1 frame kit. 1 second. Is it good? Oh, there it is. There it is. So that's a TBS Source 1 frame kit. This is the version 5.1, which does support Gorilla Mount. I've got some thoughts coming on this tomorrow on the review. It's not a digital ready frame by any means. 19mm camera mount. You can't even put an O3 camera in the front on this. I've tried. A basic frame, but it is cheap, $30. Although, I'm going to say it now, the Mario 5 is a better frame for the money. I think this is cheap, but the Mario 5 is a better frame for the money. It's not a bad frame, but pretty cool. However, the real interesting bit is in here. And that is this. And the full video on this goes live tomorrow. In fact, my patrons have seen it already because I've put it live on the channel already. For my patrons, because they're amazing. And this is Lucid. And this is Lucid with the mount fitted. Now, I've got this put together upside down on purpose before anyone complains. I needed a decent photo for the thumbnail, and it just looks bad the other way around because the way you're meant to mount it is the other way around, which has the space for the Crossfire receiver to go underneath there, the Nano. But it doesn't look the same. To be fair, the ESC is very good for the money. Now, I have a good 35-minute video coming on this, and I will share with you my thoughts. They're mostly positive. Look, I'm going to be honest, I still don't buy the reason for it, but what you can't deny is there's not really a downside to it, is probably the right way of talking. There are bits that could be better. I would have liked to have seen castellated pads. I think it's a waste of the bottom pad when you're mainly soldering to the top and there's no link on the outside. Yes, it's probably wired on the inside. So if you look, you've got your pads on the bottom and your pads on the top. I would like to see castellation on these pads all the way along. I think that would have been an improvement they could make. I can see some clumpy soldering. I didn't see anything under the microscope. I've got it under the microscope. It was pretty good. You could definitely mount an Express RS receiver there, yes, if you wanted to. It's just a UART. You could absolutely, if the pinout was correct, you could. It just depends the pinout. But you could mount an Express RS receiver on there. Definitely. As long as the pinout matched. What is interesting is when you mount this with the Gorilla Mount, it has a stack height of 18mm. And when you mount it with the brackets, it's 19mm. So there's a 1mm payoff for having the brackets. That's all. So 19mm height with the additional bracket kit. This is the 30x30. There's a 20x20 as well. But yeah, the ESC pads are a little tight. No castellation. I'm assuming they're wired. There's like these little bumps on them, if you can see them there. But overall, there is no denying for the $54.95, the ESC is good value, but you do need to add in $4. I said in the video $5 for the bracket, and then I had to correct myself at the end. It's $4 for the bracket or £5, basically. What I don't buy is the better performance overall statements. However, I also understand the problem that they're trying to fix, and I do discuss this in the video at length. It's quite a long video. So it will give another reason for Trappy to hate me. Because he hates me enough now. And he will hate me even more, I guess. I seem to be upsetting everyone these days. But anywho, for the money, it's a good ESC. You can't complain. Design is very nice. It does also go quite nice in the frame as well. I've been hypercritical of this mount before. Yeah, it's a thick PCB. I've been hypercritical of this mount before because my argument was I didn't understand what problem they were trying to solve, and I still don't fully understand what problem they're trying to solve. I know what the problem is they're trying to solve, but I don't necessarily agree it's a problem. That's my point to it. I don't fully agree it's a problem that needed solving. That's the better way of looking at it. But that isn't to say it isn't a very nicely designed ESC, because it is, you know, and they've padded everything out down below as well. You've got the connections. Yeah, and that's been my argument. And that was what I was talking about in the video. And I do talk about this, is I understand the problem they're trying to solve, but I don't necessarily believe it is really a problem. And that's the easiest way to think about it. He said electricity doesn't like 90-degree angles. Yeah. Yeah, you could combine the ESC and the FC from different brands. Yeah, it's not proprietary. It'll, you know, the bracket they include fits a 20 by 20 flight controller. So as long as it's a 20 by 20, you can put it on there. Yeah, the last FET's not in line with the rest, and it has a track that has to go around the screw, for instance. So you have thinner tracks, you have a longer thing. You know, Trappy has commented on that you're able to equally load the phases as a result of the FETs being at the same length. You're able to carry more current capacity. Current doesn't like going round corners. Not sure about that one. Let's leave that one there, shall we? But what his point is it makes a better design and layout overall. And that is hard to disagree. What I probably missed, and here's where what I missed in the being critical about it, is all my comments I stand by with regards to I don't agree it was a problem that required fixing. That I stand by 100%. What I probably missed is there is no downside really for doing what they've done with the bracket kit, other than paying an extra $4. But if you take into account you're getting an officially 60 amp ESC for under $60 with the brackets, that's hard to argue with. So the point I did miss was the fact that, hey, yes, it's a new mount and we've tried to solve this problem and we think this is solving an issue. But if you don't want to use this new mount, you don't have to. Here's a solution, and there's not really a downside. I don't think, though, you will notice it better. What I would say is, if you are looking at getting a sub $100 stack, no heatsink or RF shield, no. What I would say is, if you're looking to get a $100 stack, it's worth a look. It's just worth a look. It is definitely worth a look. It's very clean, very tidy. I've got the flight controller upside down. So when you have it the other way, if we do it the proper way, I did this for the photo. Apex 5 frames, Speedy Beast stack, and Xing motors for under 120 quid the way. Let me just refocus that a minute. Ooh. Actually, let me turn on autofocus. Where is it? Is it going to work? Did I turn on autofocus then, or did I turn off the stabilization? There we go. Apex frame is still 95 quid of that. Yeah, you can't knock the price of the TBS frame. I just don't think it's going to hold up very well. So this is meant to go, so you've got the ESC there like that way around. So the flight controller is meant to go that way. And then it's got the crossfire mount on the top. So it's... What I think is the best thing to say is, for the money, you can't knock it. It is an AT32 stack, though, so it should be cheap. You know, it shouldn't be expensive. But good hardware, TBS, you know. There you go. That's the way it's meant to be, that way there. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like. Very tidy. So you might see some humble pie tomorrow. I still question what we're trying to fix. That's my problem with this. I still question what we're trying to fix. Question on the topic of ESCs. How acceptable is it to wire two small enough motors to one large enough? You can't. They'll desync. Remember, your ESC is reading back from your motors. You need two ESCs. Do you know if it's possible to flash back and forth between LBT and FCC on the Radiomaster Nomad? Yes. That stands for every Express ELRS receiver, transmitter. You can swap back and forth, whichever way you want. It's just software, not hardware. All ExpressRS hardware is the same. What do I need to have to be aware of if I combine different brands of FCs and ESCs? The wiring. So, this pinout between this ESC here and this flight controller is not standardized. So this will be the same because of the brand it is. These are both TBS. They will just plug in and work. But you should never assume the pinout on your flight controller, even though the wiring is the same and the plug fits, is the same as the ESC. If they are of different brands, you should always check the pinout one by one to check what they should be. You will often find they are different. There is what we call a Betaflight standardized layout, but not everyone uses it. So do not trust it. Do not assume. You have to check that the wiring between the two is the same. Do I know which antenna is 2.4 and which antenna is 900 on the Nomad? Both are. Both outputs can do 2.4 and both outputs can do 900 megs. The module can do dual 2.4, dual 900s. You should short something out once at least. I burnt out I made the big mistake a few weeks ago. I burnt out a brand spanking new. They both can transmit at the same time. Yes, hence the reason there's two. I burnt out a brand new Kiss Ultra on a FetTech ESC because I assumed the pinout was the same. What a bell end. Absolute bell end. Even I still do it. Don't think because you've been doing this a long time you don't make mistakes. You do. You just do. That's like losing a child. Fuck, it is the price of a freaking Ultra. Yeah. I understand it's both, but what if I want to use higher gain? How do I choose? You can set in your software if you want it to just use one antenna, and then you could swap that antenna. You don't have to use Gemini. So in standard modes, you can tell it to use just one antenna. Yeah, even the same brands can be... mine's performed okay. I've used it a bit. I've not had range issues on it. We were sent them with early software. Yeah, look, we've all burnt stuff. We still burn stuff. Look, you think you make assumptions. The risk at someone like me and those of us who do this a lot is complacency kicks in. You don't even think. Your brain just pushes you forward, and you go because you're so used to doing stuff, you forget what you're doing. Yeah, you can't beat a smoke stopper. The downside to something like a flight controller on ESC is a smoke stopper won't always save you. That's the one killer on an ESC, is backwards wiring. A smoke stopper might not save you. Funny that the DJI boards are unmarked, though your Neo had the color codes for the ESC pads. Yes. Yeah, look, I keep on the bench here a number. I have a few of these. I have 3 or 4 of these, which is the Firefly short saver. These are needed. I think I got a brand new one in the drawer over there as well, actually. I need to go and get out. Okay. Right. If you've got any questions, we'll do a few more questions before we wrap this stream up tonight. Just catching up on the last super chat. The big rookie R1 is now $68 on AliExpress. No support from the devs, but it does look nice. Yeah, the project lead seems a bit of a bell end, though. Let me just say that again. He seems a bit of a idiot. If you watch the Telegram conversation, he basically said no to supporting the OpenIPC project, and he's just going to make his hardware, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, I'm not going to pretend the devs were the nicest to him, because they weren't. But he basically acted a real dick. So I wouldn't really go down the road of that hardware. Because he's basically saying, I'm going to make money off the hardware. I don't really want to know about the software. Spang, next question. I'll stay well away from that. I like my crotch where it was. It's technically extremely interesting, is what I will say. Hello, Drone Shots. Yeah, technically very interesting. So, while I wait for the questions to come in, is the video for this will go up tomorrow, so then Trappy will be even more angry with me. I think they created the supply chain. Call Trappy's lawyer. I'm not saying anything bad, but he just hates me. Mad mailer question. I used a patch on a plane. That's cool. That is cool. Not tried that. There's no reason it won't have any benefit. What I am doing tomorrow as well, after I've just while I remember, after I've done my review of the Lucid, at the end of the video you will be able to buy my customized accessories for this, because now every time a KOL receives a product, they now release their customized accessories afterwards. So I'm going to give you my completely independent review, and then at the end of that completely independent review, I'm going to say you should consider buying this accessory that I've made exclusively for this, that you can buy from my store after I've given you my independent review. Because obviously I'm still going to say bad things, even though I'm trying to sell you accessories afterwards. It's not like I'd want to say good things, so you might want to go out and buy my accessories. Not just saying that, but just seeing that it seems to be the norm now. No, look, I'm not talking about. There's a lot of people at this now. It's not one or two, and I'm not even talking about, you know, specific things for it. There's a lot of. I've noticed this new trend that I'm going to receive a product from a manufacturer for free. I'm going to talk about it, probably use their affiliate links, and then I'm going to make a range of accessories that you can buy for it as well. It seems to be a new trend that I've noticed. Look, I say some of these things in jest. I like to poke the bear now and again. No one should criticize anyone for trying to make money. Okay? The truth is, we all need it. We're all material girls in a material world. We all need it. YouTube doesn't pay anyone. Don't think for 1 minute even the Bardwells are making big money. Okay? What I do, though, find a little bit murky is the lack of openness at times from some quarters of the industry. And that's the bit that's murky. You know, let's be honest. This, you know, if I'm saying this new drone is amazing and here's my accessory, it's like, come on, you know. But it is what it is. It's me having a bit of a joke because I'm an asshole, and I'm lucky that this doesn't pay my bills, and I'd still never do that. Look, what I will commit to on this channel is I have no intention of reviewing a frame and then selling a frame or accessories. I was thinking about this the other day. Would I be tempted if someone said to me, "We'd like to make a flight controller, would you help us?" I was wondering what I could do, and it's really nothing, so I probably wouldn't, because there's nothing I could do. I have an idea for a tool in my head I would love to do. I've had this idea in my head for about 6 months, and I need to get off my arse and think about it. And this would be unlike anything you've seen. Something that would help you. Something that would help many things. Mad's tool. Wouldn't you love to have Mad's tool on your bench? But no, look, I talk about these things in jest. You know, look, I get frustrated at the lack of openness. Mads, did you read that Powell is announced he's slowing down because of the health regions? No, I didn't. I hope he's okay. I don't really know Powell or Pavel. We had a conversation once. Like Pavel's, as far as I'm concerned, he's a good guy. I think he's quite critical at times of other creators. He's quite critical of stuff at times. But he's a good guy. I wish him all the best. Oh, itchy eye. Contact AVE. Mads HD Shaver, Mads Ruler, yeah. No, I didn't read, though. PCB Way and FC. Yeah, no. I just find it a bit murky, some of this stuff. It's like, guys, come on. Stop trying to sell people something. Let's just say if it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit. If it's not as good as it could be, let's be honest with everyone and call the manufacturers out for their bullshit, because they're not our friends. Look, DJI's not your friend. They're not my friend. They're a soulless corporate entity whose entire job is to make money. And that's fine, as long as you accept that. But let's not pretend they're sitting here making these products to make our lives better. They're fucking not. They are doing everything they can to strip as much money from you as they can. However, whilst doing that, does that mean they could make your life a little bit easier or provide a product that you might enjoy? Yes, they may do that. But again, don't underestimate the fact that they are all soulless, nasty, evil companies who shouldn't be trusted as far as you can throw them. And that is the truth, because they will screw you, drop you, leave you behind as quick as you can blink. They are not your friends. If you're a KOL, it's a business relationship, but don't go running around online fucking defending them. No one needs the internet police to say how great Cadex is. Oh, they're amazing. We shouldn't say bad things about them. Fuck no. Let's say the truth. Let's say how it is. Let's be open, honest, and fair. But let's also be honest when they are being bad behavior or delivering bad behavior or doing stuff that is bad. Cadex, they make some interesting products. They've released some really, they've pushed the FPV market forward. Let's be clear in saying half of them are half-baked, don't work properly, and they never finish anything. And they don't deliver on what they've promised time and time again. They have more times where they have talked shit before even thinking about making the product. And that's the truth. DJI, great company, make the best products in the industry. Without doubt. There is no question DJI makes the best products in the industry. But are they perfect? No. They're a soulless entity who will screw you if they can, who have a habit of backtracking on things that they say they're going to do. They're less so these days, but they are. They do that. But they also are more than happy to create a situation that means you have to buy a new version or a new this or a new that. It's the truth. They can't be trusted. None of them are your friends. And the bit I find interesting is the defense. Let's not defend them. Let's be open about their failings and encourage them to do better. And that encouragement may involve calling them a bunch of twats. That's really it. I really upset the guy from GNB on Facebook because he basically said I was talking shit. But I still busted on by the fact of the only LiPo batteries I've had go up at GNB randomly, and that they nearly burnt my workshop down. So I don't care what anyone says. I don't trust their batteries. End of. Because my personal experience is that they completely randomly went up in normal charging. And this ain't a mess up before anyone, and they come back, oh, you charge it? Look, I've charged thousands and thousands of batteries. Don't tell me I'm not charging a battery properly. The fucking thing just went up. I was sitting here and I had one on charge over there and I just heard And I was like, what? Actually, the first thing I sat here and I was like, what was that sound? And then my brain went, battery on charge. Fuck. Ran towards it. Completely randomly. Normal charge. And here's the crazy thing. I actually charge generally at 1C, either 1 or 1.5C. Like a 1500 milliamp pack, I'll usually charge at 2 amp. I don't charge over that. I never charge over that. I'll charge like a 15 or a 1300 milliamp pack. Arian, FPV used the Calyx repair service? No. And I've seen some poor comments from people on Facebook, but I've not experienced it myself. Right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up there. I want to say thank you for spending some time with me tonight. Look after yourselves. We probably will be back same time, same place next week if DJI haven't hunted me down and ended me. I'm joking. Anyways, we'll stay safe. I will speak to you guys soon. Thank you to everyone for the super chats. Don't forget to check out Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, the link to FPV Wiki, and my Discord. Later!